Shalom, welcome to another video, and as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, or Khwadash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. All right, this is going to be a quick back to the basics prophecy on the restoration of Jacob. Okay, and this is there's of course really the whole Old Testament. Most of the Old Testament prophecies are centered around this event, but I'm going to focus specifically on this one that was prophesied by Moses in Deuteronomy 30th chapter. All right, and this is what we are coming into. Okay, and when you read this, all right, then it helps you to understand why the nations are so adamant against us saying that we're Israelites, so adamant against us keeping the commandments of the Heavenly Father, because what we're about to read, I'm going to show you that once that happens, once the Israelites wake up amongst the nations, okay, remember themselves and return back to the Heavenly Father, that the fall of the nations is not too far behind that, okay, and that's what they're trying to stop. So anyways, that's the topic we're going to dive into, and Yahweh Righteous Zami and Heavenly Father's will is edifying to the elect. All right, I'm going to start off here in Deuteronomy 30:1. Okay, it says restoration promised. All right, so Deuteronomy 30:1, it reads, "And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahweh thy power hath driven thee." All right, so this is setting the stage. Okay, we've been through the blessing. All right, going back to the time around King David, King Solomon, the kings of Israel. Okay, we've been through the blessings. All right, and then we've also been through the curse. Okay, and the curses have been, on us. All right, starting off, going all the way back to the Babylonian captivity, and continued on and continued to get worse and worse, through each captivity that we've went to. All right, Babylonian and Assyrians, the Persians and the Medes, okay, the Greeks, and then now we're in the Roman Empire. Okay, we're in the second leg of the Roman Empire, here in the chief seat of that Roman Empire, which is America, okay, also known of as the daughter of Babylon, or Babylon the Great, prophetically. Okay, and this is the main place that we would be delivered from, pursuant to Micah 4:10. So we're here, all right, in the nations, okay, and we are calling all these things to mind, just as the scriptures say that we would. All right, verse 2, it says, "And shall return unto Yahweh thy power, all right, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul." Okay, so all right, that's what's happening right now, and the reason why we're able to do so is because of Yahweh Shai. Okay, we've been given a second chance, all right, through faith in Yahweh Shai. All right, and now we're returning to the Lord and obeying his voice, okay, to the best of our ability, like it says in Judges 5:11, that we would rehearse the righteous acts. Okay, it's not possible for us to obey perfectly, all right, which is the reason why Yahweh Shai, when he comes, he's going to give us those new bodies where this mortal will put on immortality, and this corruption shall put on incorruption. Okay, and that's when we'll fully enter into that new covenant. Okay, where it will not be possible for us to sin. But it starts off here, all right, with us returning unto the Lord and obeying him with all of our heart and soul, which we're going to keep reading. It's going to tell you that. It says, and I'll read it again, "And shall return unto Yahweh thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul." All right, verse 3, "That then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy power hath scattered thee." And when he does that, pursuant to Jeremiah 30, okay, verses 9, 10, 11, okay, somewhere around there. Okay, when he does that, when he gathers the Israelites out of the nations, he's going to destroy the nations they've been scattered to. Okay, so deliverance for Jacob, okay, is synonymous with destruction of the nations, which is the reason why they're trying to stop these prophecies. That's why they don't want you to know you're an Israelite. They don't want you to keep the commandments. Okay, they get angry with us. They try to lay blame upon us like we're doing something evil for wanting to be obedient to the Heavenly Father's commandments. Okay, this is the reason why. Okay, because once we are obedient to the Lord through the faith we've been given in Yahushua, He's going to prepare deliverance for us. All right, and it's going to come by way of Jacob's trouble. Deuteronomy 30:4, it says, "If any of thine be driven out into the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee." Okay, and when it says from the parts of heaven, all right, this is Esau's heaven. Okay, because heaven just represents rulership on earth. All right, that's the reason why in Matthew, the 11th chapter, it says, "The violent have taken the kingdom of heaven by force." Okay, it means they've taken the violent, being the Edomites, have taken over the rulership of the earth. They've taken it by force. Okay, so the kingdom of heaven has suffered violence. The children of Israel, which really are the rightful rulers over this earth, all right, we're being beat down and put in subjection by the Greeks and the Romans. Okay, but so this is Esau's heaven and our hell, but the Lord is going to gather us out of all the different countries. Okay, and the countries we've been scattered to, he's going to destroy them. It says, "And Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers." All right, so the children of Israel are going to be taken by the Lord and going to go back to their land. Verse 6, "And Yahweh thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live." Okay, so that's what's happening now. All right, this is the beginning stages of it. Okay, he's circumcised our hearts. Okay, he's cut off the wickedness out of our hearts. All right, and he's put the Spirit in us to serve him and to love him with all our heart and with all our soul. All right, and that's going to be fully perfected once we enter into that new covenant at the second coming of Yahushua. Now here's the point in verse 7. This is why they're trying to stop it from happening. It says, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." Okay, so the nations, they know that they have done us wrong, especially Esau. Okay, so they're afraid that if we are the children of Israel, all right, and if we do turn back to the Lord, and he does release us from this captivity and gathers us out of the nations, they know that what comes next is the curses coming upon them. So they're trying to stop it from happening. That's why they're spending all this money sending out these different agents. Hey, all their minions, the plantation Christians, okay, are angry. Okay, that we're trying to keep the commandments of the Heavenly Father. They're angry that we're calling ourselves Israelites, doing everything that they can to try to stop, the Lord from raising up his elect. And it's not possible, because it's prophetic. Okay, once again, Deuteronomy 30:7, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Okay, and thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh and do all his commandments which I command thee this day." Okay, so that's why they're so against keeping the commandments. "And Yahweh thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers." All right, so there you go. Okay, and that's pretty much it. All right, I don't got to go too deep into it, but this is the timeline here. All right, this is we've already entered into this. Okay, that breath of life has entered into us, and every phase of it, I would say right now, okay, that we're at about phase 6 of verse 6. Okay, and verse 7, okay, that's what's coming next. All right, and that Jacob's trouble is their last and final stand to try to offset these prophecies, okay, by killing off as many Israelites as they can. That's the reason why Revelation 12:12 says, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." Okay, he knows that, once again, that we're at phase 6, okay, and he knows that phase 7 comes next. So he's going to try to kill off the Israelites to stop, phase 7 from coming to pass. Okay, but there's nothing that they can do. So they're going to take one last final stand. All right, they can't stop us, with all their different, sending out their different agents and all that kind of stuff. That hasn't put even a dent into this ministry. If anything, it's made us get stronger and stronger, because all we're doing is just bringing out more edification. As the scriptures say, okay, you can do nothing against the truth, but only for the truth. 2 Corinthians 13:8. Okay, so this is the next phase. They're gonna come in, with great wrath, and the Lord is gonna raise up a standard against them. All right, and then the situation is going to flip. That's when the Lord is going to show his anger against them, and all the curses that were on us are going to be on them, but double. All right. So just wanted to show you guys this, quick back to the basics. If you didn't know that this prophecy was there, and Heavenly Father's will was edifying. As always, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachash. And until next time, Shalom, and Abide Babal.